So when it comes to the government, they love wasting your money and they also love migrants. And when they get to combine their two loves, that really gets the government excited. Because it says that migrant benefit claims have surged past £1 billion. And that is exactly as it... We'll get onto the elephant in the room, don't worry. Where although it says we can read this article for free, that's just a free trial, then you got to start paying every single month to read it. So we're going to get around that, don't worry. But as I was saying, that is exactly as it sounds. That's £1 billion in benefits. And not only, right, you got to think over the long term. 5 years is 5 billion and 10 years is 10 billion. However, it's not going to be that. Because not only are we going to be paying this bill for all of that time, the bill is increasing. Do you know what I mean? Like this year it's 1 billion. Next year it's 1.3, then 1.6, then 2, then 27 billion in year 5. Don't know what happened there. I'm making these numbers up here. Apparently you can just go on YouTube these days and just make things up. But we're not here to talk about Spain. We're here to talk about British benefits. Because if we click onto this link here, we can see the full article. Again, that's another reason to subscribe. Usually this would cost you, but you're getting it for free, unlike the taxpayer. Because it says that the amount of universal credit paid to households with at least, and it's going to be more than one, but at least one claimant who's a refugee. That's like, the refugee, that's like not even a migrant. That's crazy. That's like asylum seeker sort of stuff, isn't it? So a migrant would be like, Maya Tusi, he's a migrant, for example, came from Iran, born there. When he was like, just before he was 20, came over here, so he would be a migrant. But then a refugee is someone who came over for blood. Well, actually, no, hang on a second. Because he came over because it was something to do with his mum and she got him over because it was dangerous. So I don't know, maybe he's a refugee. You see what I'm trying to get at anyway. The refugees are usually like the boat people or the people in danger. They might overstay a visa, but they would still be classed as a refugee. So truth be told, like we've got a lot of migrants, but refugees, we don't actually have, well, we've got a lot of them. But compared to migrants, and we're paying out over £1 billion in refugees just to give them universal credit. And it says that it's up from 828. That's exactly what I was saying as well. In fact, you know what? I think we can try and figure this one out. So I've just done some calculations, right? And the percentage increase, I don't want to get too mathematical, but hear me out. So the difference between £828 million, I've just knocked off the zeros there, but it still works out. So the difference between 828 million quid and £1.1 billion is a 32% increase. That's just in 1 year. 32%. See, I was going to get a compound interest chart up, but I think that might be a bit too much. So how I've calculated this one, just if you're interested, it's done for savings, which you should highly check out compound interest if you haven't. But this ain't that sort of it. I would go off on the 20-minute tangent, don't worry. I've done that to enough people in my life where you tell them about compound interest and just how beneficial it can be. But if we get our money, which is the £1.1 billion, and if we say that the growth, forget the interest, I know this is towards finance, but we were spending £828 million a year, now we're spending £1.1 billion, so that's the increase of 30%. And after 10 years' time, we're roughly looking at, if it stays at the current rate, about 20 to £21 billion a year. Now, again, that's a compound interest calculator. And we would need the migrants to back that up as well. Could slow down. It could increase as well, but you just don't know. So don't sit there and think, or quote, that it's going to be £20 billion a year. But truth be told, we're spending, £9 million a day on hotels, or at least we were. And now these people are getting registered into the system at an extremely fast rate. Now we're looking at billions upon billions of pounds just in benefits. In fact, you can sort of see it here. They've got a chart for us. It says refugee grants have hit a record high last year. Yeah, so grants of protection. So this isn't cash handed out. But this is basically the amount of people that are just coming in and staying. So yeah, it's just increases upon increases. So truth be told, that £20 billion figure could happen. I'm not quite sure. And here's an up-to-date chart as well, actually. Just so you can see how many migrants have crossed over. And yeah, it's record levels, isn't it? 2025 is the blue line there. It's the highest it's ever been at this point in time. So more money, more migrants. more services falling into disrepair, as well as more Sudanese Steve sat in a 4-star hotel. And if you enjoyed this look at Britain, which it's looking a bit strange at the moment, I'm staying. I'm not leaving or anything like that. I'll be staying in the UK for my entire life. There's no reason to leave the country. And if you're with me on that one, then I'd highly recommend to check out this video, because it turns out that local councils have been refusing migrants.
This country has gone crazy.